Welcome back. Your do now had to do with reading per day and how many days you're reading, and the total minutes was a Kyla spent reading. So your last step was to write an equation using two different variables, your T, which was your total minutes, as well as the days, D. So let's look at that a little bit more. When you were filling out that table, you were actually doing the equation, probably mental math, maybe on paper. So if it was one day, the total time was just 45 minutes, right? If it was 2 days, it was 2 times 45 minutes, so the total would be 90. So as you can see, whatever the days were, you actually multiplied it times that 45 to get your total time. Easy enough, right? You were already doing that mental math. It's just writing it down is what we're learning today. Okay, so our goal today is to write those two variable equations. You should always have two letters in there. One is the dependent, the other one is the independent. Our dependent was our total time. Remember, total is usually depending on how many, for this instance, days she was reading. So, an equation is used to show how those two variables work together. So our key point, get ready to type, get ready to write. An equation can be used to represent the relationship between an independent, you guessed it, and dependent variables. Oops. Okay, so your goal today is to be writing those equations while we're also reviewing yesterday's lesson. So if you actually didn't do yesterday's lesson, go back and do that first. You want to make sure that you learn that before you jump into this more complicated lesson, okay? All right, we're going to have two examples, and I'm going to walk you through the steps of what I expect from you for the rest of the lesson and for your exit ticket. Example number 1. Sean earns $9 per hour at his part-time job. Write an equation to represent the amount of money Sean earns after working for any number of hours. Okay? First, I need to find two variables, right? An independent and dependent variable. I'm going to circle the one that's independent. So let me see again. Sean earns $9 per hour, okay. Write an equation to represent the amount of money Sean earns. That's definitely one, how much money he gets after working for any number of hours. Okay? So that any number of hours is a variable. Let me think about that. Does he get to decide? Does that depend on anything? I don't think it depends on anything, right? Maybe his boss, but maybe he has a job where he can decide how many hours he works. That's all his decision. Doesn't depend on anything. So actually our number of hours is going to be our independent variable. Circle it, annotate it. Next one was our amount of money or total money that Sean has. Remember, a total is probably a dependent variable because it depends on how many hours he worked. I'm going to tell you the truth. In the real world, if you don't work any hours, you're not going to get money. It depends on how many hours you work before you actually get money. So your money depends on your work. So the money is going to be in a box because that was my dependent variable. Okay, that's my step 1. You annotate it, you find those two. Now I'm going to create a table. First is for my hours, because that's independent, I get to decide. And the second one is for the money. I'm just going to do a $sign for his money. Okay? Then I'm only going to set up maybe 3 to see if I can come up with the equation from this. If Sean works 1 hour, how much will he make? Just $9, right? Because for 1 hour per hour, he gets $9. What if he worked for 2 hours? How much money would he get? $18. How did we figure that out? Well, if for each hour it's 9, then for 2 hours it's 2 times 9. So 2 times 9 is 18. How about if 3 hours? 3 hours, 3 times 9 would be $27. Okay? So now that I have this table, I'm ready to write my equation. What was I trying to figure out each time? How much money he gets. So the money, we can use, let's use M. So his money equaled, what did I do to figure out his money? Well, I timesed whatever I had here times my 9. So my H times my 9. So 9H. Let me double check to make sure that worked. Let's substitute in a 3 here. 9 times 3 equals 27. Is that what I wrote? Yes. So this right here, my friends, is my equation. That was my goal. First, you have to figure out your 2 different variables. Then you can create a table. And then from that table, it should be easy to figure out your equation. And at the end, I always want you to go back and check, okay? Make sure that you didn't mix up your letters because that would be iffy. The dependent variable is in front because that is always what depends on what happens, whether hours, whatever it is. Let's do one more example and then you're going to try it by yourself. Daisy started with $200 in her savings account. Okay, that's important. She decided to add $40 per month. Per month means every month $40. That's also important. What equation could Daisy use to figure out the total? Oh my goodness, that's a variable right there. I don't know what type of variable, but it is definitely a variable. Total amount in her savings account, so her total money, after any number of months. Oh, there's another variable, months. So I definitely have months and total money. Okay, my 2 different variables, month and total money. Let's talk about it. Independent variable versus a dependent variable. So which one kind of happens on its own? It doesn't really depend on anything. The months or the total money? The months, right? That doesn't depend on how much money is in the account. Months go by whether you like it or not. That's independent. Nothing influences it. So my months right here is my independence. I'm going to circle it because that's what we've always been doing. And I'm going to label it IV for independent variable. So what does that mean for my total? Well, my total depends on how many months I've been doing this, right? If it comes to 12 months, I'm going to have a lot of money. But if it's only 1 month, probably not that much money. So it depends on how many months have gone by. So that is my dependent variable. Total amount of savings is my dependent variable. Okay, now I have those 2. I'm going to set up my table. And which one goes first? Usually the independent one. Always independent because that's what I kind of get to decide or figure out the rest from, the total. So my months, let's use M. How much will she have after 1 month, 2 months, and 3 months? And my dependent variable is my total money. So M stands for months, T stands for total money, or total savings, I should say. All right, after 1 month, how much will her savings be? Well, I know that it's $40 per month, so she has $40 because it's been 1 month. But I can't forget what happened here. $200. I already started with that. So I started at 200. 1 month has gone by. I added 40. How much should I have? 240. So I started with 200 and I added 40. I'm just taking notes here because this will help me with my equation. After 2 months, well, another month has gone by. I again started with 200, but each month she added 40. So how much has she added since that 200? If it has been 2 months, 2 times 40, 80. So it's going to be 200 plus 80. So that'll be $280. How about after 3 months? Same pattern. She starts with 200. After 3 months, 3 times 40. Well, 3 times 4 is 12, so 3 times 40 will be 120. So 200 plus 120 will be $320. All right, now let's write that equation. I can already see a pattern here, so it should be pretty easy to do. What was I trying to figure out here? The total savings. So T is going to come first, equals. How did I figure out my total savings? Well, I always started with 200. That never changed. That's a constant. Then I added something to it. First I added 40, then 80, then 120. How did I know how much to add? Well, I knew it was 40 times however months it was. For the first month, it was just 40 times 1. For the second month, it was 40 times 2. For the third month, it was 40 times 3. So 40 times the months is going to get you your answer. So let me just double check. Let me see. If the months was 2, that would be 2 here. 2 times 40 is 80. 80 plus 200 is 280. Is that what I wrote? Yes. So I didn't get my letters mixed up. I am good to go. And my friends, we did it. Here is my equation. Okay, so you're gonna follow these 3 steps on your own. And again, I know it's challenging. If you have questions about your exit ticket or you're not sure, meet me at my office hours and I would love to help you out. Okay, good luck and I hope to see you there.